Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about relationships, particularly about dating relationships, and how there's 4 stages in which many people often go through in that relationship itself. As we talk about these things, I really want you to stop and think about some of the experiences or circumstances in which you might find yourself in. But then we're also going to take a step back and think about some of the pitfalls and strengths, some of the things that we're absolutely enjoying in that stage as well. As time goes on, I hope to be able to identify each of these stages so that as you are going through them, you are going to be able to date more clearly, more fully, and be able to have a better understanding to find that person who you're meant to be with. Now, the very first stage that I want to talk about is admiration. Admiration is a time in which one person often looks at someone else and they're just overwhelmed by a quality, whether that's beauty, hair, maybe it's the way that they have acted in some way, shape, or form. But it's but a moment, one aspect of that person that seems to have captivated them, seems to overwhelm them, that inspires them to go and get to know them even more. It's in this admiration stage that we often find ourselves pursuing someone else. Now, this can look very different in each other's lives. Perhaps you were out at the bar and you saw a young woman across the room and you just saw her and said, I got to get to know her. Look at her style. Look at her hair. Look at the way she carries herself. I want to get to know her. And so you go across the room. Well, what's the motivating factor that's getting you to move from where it is you are, this safe place with your friends, to be able to go and talk to her and be able to get to know her in a different way? Complete stranger, really. Now, in this admiration stage, the very first question that we often ask ourselves is, what should I say to her? What should I say to this person? How will I break the ice? How can it be natural? And what happens if I get rejected? So many questions, so many ideas happen in this one stage that we can get lost. We can actually talk ourselves out of doing anything with this feeling. In this very first stage of admiration, though, the very first step is to go and recognize this person, to shoot your shot, to be able to talk to them and say, hey, I thought you were cute. I wanted to get to know you. To be able to simply start there is that very first stage. Now, there's a lot of things that are going on. As I mentioned, there's a lot of things that you're thinking about. So oftentimes in this very stage, we overcomplicate things. We make it so that things are hard. We focus so much on our nerves or our possibilities of what could or the what ifs that we absolutely do not do anything. Which means we don't go any further. How often haven't you been out at the bar with friends, looking across the room, seeing a cute girl and say, oh, I should go over and say something to her. What would captivate her? What magical words could I say that she would then strike up a conversation with me? Or perhaps you're the girl at the bar. You've been making eyes at the guy across the room, hoping that he might catch the hint that you are interested in them. But I'll be perfectly honest, for most men, we are not going to think that you are looking at us. We think you're probably looking at someone else, hoping that they would come. And we have probably already seen 1, maybe 2 guys approach you and you turn them down. Or maybe you were talking to them and so we think, well, there was my shot. That's all I could do. It's here where we find ourselves at the crossroads of what will we do first? What will we do next? The pitfalls are clear. We can have a failure to launch. We can do absolutely nothing, and this place, this relationship, is going to go nowhere. It won't even start. This is where we find ourselves in the majority of our relationships. They don't go anywhere. They don't do anything. It's here that I really want you to think then about what success would look like. How is it success would truly fill you? What is it that you need? I want you to stop and consider something. Fellas, if you do go walk across and start talking to this girl and she does reject you, what's the worst that could happen? You maybe heard a no. You go back to the friends or place where you were before. You might feel a little defeated, but then you also recognize there's more than one girl in this bar. Perhaps you begin looking around and you start thinking about what else, who else saw that. And so we begin to psych ourselves out once again. It's here, though, that I really want you to stop and ask the question, are you really worse off? The answer is probably no. You're not out anything. Now you know what this person would say to you, and now you have a better understanding as to how to handle the next situation. What can you learn from this? What worked? What didn't work? Was it that she couldn't hear you? Was it that she wasn't interested? Perhaps she already has a boyfriend? Perhaps she's out with friends, helping them feel better? You don't know. You probably will never know if you were rejected. But now, here's a possibility. She begins talking back to you. What are you going to say next? Well, this leads us to the second stage, attraction. It's here in attraction in which both groups have now said, yeah, there is a quality that I see in this other person that I'm interested in. I want to see where this goes, what could possibly happen, where this could possibly lead to, and what is the next step on this journey. It's here in this stage of attraction in which conversations begins happening. Text messages, phone numbers are exchanged. You begin answering some of those questions of who are you? What have you done? What are your hobbies? You know, the interview questions that so often take place, in which so many of us, well, get sick and tired of it. This person who we are already attracted to now is killing the mood with these interview questions. And so you need to find a playful way of talking to this person. Finding out some of the answers, because you do need to learn about this person. But does it need to feel like an interview? Does it need to feel like you're trying to get this job or you're trying to impress this person in one way, shape, or form? Now, fellas, I get it. You do need to try and impress this woman. And ladies, he's trying his best. He's probably really nervous, and he's probably trying to figure out exactly what to say. How can this conversation flow? Or are you bothered by us and we need to just simply leave? What's the mutual attraction that's going on here? Now, I want you to truly understand, in this stage of attraction, there's simply a conversation going on. You have probably looked at each other, and outward appearance, you have looked at them and say, I like their hair, I like their style, I like the way they look. But what do you really know about them? Their personality, their character. That's really what you want to get to know more about. You already have some things to start the conversation. Outward appearances, compliments, but they have to be genuine. They have to have some thought behind them. It's here in the midst of this second stage of attraction in which we truly begin seeing the budding relationship take form. It's here that we still are not quite in a relationship. You probably are already still talking to 1, 2, 5, 10 different people and trying to get to know them all. You do that so that you don't come off as too needy. You don't want to be overly attracted to this person. Because think about how that went the last time. When you approached that girl and you are just so beautiful. I just don't know what to say to you. How'd that go over? Was she turned away because you came on too strong? Did it lead to one question after the next, after the next, after the next, and she didn't really even get a chance to complete her answer? So you don't want to come off as too interested, but you also want to let this person know, I'm interested. I want to get to know you. I want to stand out from the other guys, the other people who are vying for your attention, and I want to know, are you interested in this? I'm talking about a dance, a time in which you are going to be trying to figure out, how are you meeting each other's energies? How are you matching each other's give and take? And it can't just be take, 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 take. It can't just be give, 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 give. There's gotta be a balance, a mutual aspect. A partnership needs to keep forming. Because if one person gets too far ahead of the other, then that's when that unequalness, that over attraction, that overbearing feeling can come in. Or that feeling of doubt, fear, wonderment. You know what I'm talking about. Where you look down and you see, well, they read my text, but it's been 1, 2, 4 hours. Well, maybe they're just at work. I'll give them till the end of the day. But then it's 9 o'clock and you haven't heard anything from them. You need to think about it from the other person's perspective. You don't want to come off as overbearing, but you also want to show that you're interested, that you care, and you want to show that you're interested. You want to see this go further. And it is here where we find ourselves with several possibilities, several emotions, some we need to keep in check, and some that we need to allow to advance. We need to allow our hearts to be able to also talk with our heads, because we've already figured out some things. They're attractive. Maybe the conversation has flowed, maybe once, maybe twice. It becomes that time of figuring things out. What this will be, where it will go, we still don't know. It's here, though, where we can find ourselves again needing to find a way to hold ourselves back and to keep ourselves in check. Now, this often looks very different for each and every one of us. We're trying to figure out what that other person is, but also don't always feel confident to ask directly. Yet sometimes that's needed. Sometimes you do need to simply be on the phone and say, you know, I've really enjoyed our conversations. What do you think about this? It leads into an advancement, progression. I'm not saying that you have clearly defined each other of what it is you are or where this is going to be, but you've recognized in each other that at this time, I still want to continue. I want to get to know you even more. I've liked what I've seen. I liked what I've gotten to know so far. And I want to learn even more about you. This leads us to the next stage. But between the next stage and the current stage of attraction, we have a really awkward conversation that for many of us we struggle with. The defining the relationship leads us from stage 2 of attraction to stage 3, commitment. It's here in defining the relationship that we truly need to be open and honest with one another and be able to answer those questions of, what do we think? Are we willing to put the other people who we're getting to know aside? Not that they're any less, but this person seems to be sparking my interest, my passion, and the qualities that I've seen presented to me so far tells me this person may be a good match for me for a relationship. And it's here when we define that relationship in which we have that conversation of, what do you think? It's here in that defining the relationship conversation in which you need to prepare yourself for the possibility of it going forward within a committed relationship, but also the rejection, I am not that interested in you. And so you get demoted to a friend zone. Yeah, the place where many of us don't like being, but we find ourselves there in many people's lives. But I also want you to stop and consider something first. If you were put in the friend zone, that means that this other person was not your person to be in a relationship with. This person who, yes, you've gotten to know more of their story, you've learned from them, you've been able to grow in so many ways, and yet now you are better prepared to be able to see and understand when you do meet that person, find that person, and now you're ready for them. To be even more open for that. To know that when these qualities come along, you know it's right. You know it's possible. Instead of focusing on the negative, that now I've been rejected by this woman, I've been rejected by this boy. Now, it opens up a different door. You're one step closer to finding the person who you are supposed to be with. Now, it is from this defining the relationship, though, that if it goes well, you are going to find yourself in a time of a committed relationship. Here, in that committed relationship, you are wanting to get to know that person even at a deeper level. Beyond just the masks that we so often wear with friends or others that are out there. We want to be able to express emotions, vulnerabilities, but we also want to be the strength and rock for that other person, because there's going to be times in which hard times are going to happen, and we're going to need to lean on each other. And how are they going to react to me crying? To me being sad? Frustrated? How is it that this other person and I are going to argue? Because arguments are going to happen. How is it that this other person is truly going to be coming back into the relationship and focusing not just on what's for themselves, but what's important for both of us? Now, this stage of commitment is sometimes where we typically will get lost. This is where many of our friends has told us about, where we no longer answer our text, don't come out for phone calls, don't come out for boys or girls' nights, don't really pay much attention to anyone else. You become infatuated by this person. Remember, you've admired them, you are attracted to them, and they're attracted to you, and now you are committed to one another. But it's so often here that now you are losing yourself into this other person, into this relationship. You become lost. The very person who this other person was attracted to becomes watered down. I want you to stop and consider that for a moment. It's something that happens to us without even thinking about it. And so we need to have friends. We need to have people who will call us out on that. We need to take some times in which we hold our calendars and even let the other person know and say, I am thoroughly enjoying hanging out with you, but I also want to still be friends with these people. I want to go and do this hobby. I want to go and be a part of this group out there. And when I come back, I want to be able to share some of that experience with you. If you have a good and healthy partner, they're going to appreciate that too. They're going to want you to be your own person. But you're also valuing us. You're giving that time to breathe. But you're also honoring that time of coming back and sharing what it is you both are bringing to the table. As we talk about this, it's something too that we can sometimes recognize some of the wonderful aspects of it, the joys, the happiness, the now I have someone to buy a teddy bear from, now I get flowers, now I get gifts. Now I have someone who's calling me and texting me, someone who's really giving me the attention that I appreciate. But it's there too, where we also find a pitfall of losing friends, losing ourselves and our identity. And we begin losing who we are, our goals and our aspirations of what it is we're striving for. And we truly need to stop and reflect on who we are, and is this person making me a better version of myself? Have they helped me grow? Have they challenged me in a positive way, in a good way, to truly understand this world around me, that I actually am more enriched by this person, and not simply lost in their hobbies, their wants and desires? So often, we find ourselves in the throes of a committed relationship, and we don't realize how terrible it was until it ended. And then our friends are, where have you been? Times in which we do need to recognize we had a part to play in that. I want us to stop and think about that. How is it you are going to set yourself up for success in a relationship, but also continue to be yourself, have your own identity, and truly value all of the opportunities that you have in this world? If you do find yourself with a good partner who's going to allow you to continue to grow, and you recognize the ways in which you continue to be a good relationship, then you find yourself going to the next step. From a committed relationship to now assessing compatibility. It's here in the compatibility that truly it needs to blossom over time. You need to be able to grow and see how this person is. And you're looking for patterns, ways in which they not only say, oh yeah, I'll do that, but are they actually doing it? Is it something that they do consistently, or is it done only because you ask them to do it? Is it something that they want to do because they want to make you happy? Or is it truly something that they want to do together? Is it something that you can grow together in? Is it something that you need to do on your own, and you're okay with that, and they're okay with that, and that you both are going to be able to be stronger people because of these times of both being together and being in this supported, caring relationship? Now, there are certain qualities that can absolutely begin shining forth. Anger is one of the biggest things that many people begin noticing about, where, oh, I didn't realize how angry they got. Or the simplest thing, and then they explode. What's that about? You also need to be careful that you're not making excuses for them. Oh, they're always that way. Yeah, but is that a good thing? Is it a good thing that they keep forgetting your birthday or buying these things in order to make things right? You need to be able to truly take a step back and reflect. Is this person going to be compatible with me? Not just in this season of life, but is this someone that I can truly grow with? Are they going to help me grow? And are they going to grow with me in whatever the future may hold? Maybe you're wanting to have kids. Are they going to be a good partner in that? Maybe one of the people's jobs is going to have them move periodically. Are you going to be okay with that? There are several areas in which you truly need to ask yourself, is this person and I compatible, not just here and now, but truly over the future? Now, I get it. You don't have a crystal ball. You're not going to have every answer right now. You can only do what it is you can do right now. But even now, if you're asking some of these questions and don't have a solid answer, or you don't have a certain answer, you might want to start asking those questions, seeing those patterns, and recognizing how it is you both are. Sometimes you need to go and talk to others about this. A mutual friend, a common friend, someone who is going to be able to think honestly about you and the other person and be able to give you both a trusted and truthful answer. That's not always easy. And you truly do need to come back together as a couple to say, is this something we can overcome? Is this something that is going to part our ways? Or where are we at? It's here in the compatibility that we often find ourselves either making those excuses, making justifications, or even lowering things that were once a priority for us. Because now we have someone who we're comfortable with, someone that has already agreed that we're attractive, that we want to be with them, and that they want to be with us. As we think about these things, we might even find ourselves in a fear of what this might mean for me in the future. It also leads us then to some positive things, a recognition of some qualities that I need to be looking for in my own self to develop, but also the qualities of a person that I need to have in my life for the long haul. So oftentimes in this compatibility stage, we begin realizing who's going to be a soulmate, but that person is probably not going to have everything already in there. It's going to take work. It's going to take some effort. It's going to take some bumps in the road, some arguments, some frustration, some time, separation, and go, this is not bigger than our commitments, our promises that we've made to one another. We can overcome this. We will come back together again. Now, these 4 stages, admiration, attraction, commitment, and compatibility, get us down this path. But it's truly leading us to finding someone who we want to spend the rest of our days with. Someone who is going to be there through the thick and the thin. Someone who we can trust. Someone who we can find joys and laughter. Yes, we are going to find some frustrations, but the good times are going to outweigh the bad. The times in which we are going to be open and honest, a peace that surpasses all understanding is going to be in our very spirit, our very hearts, and in our very minds, because we know that this person has our best interests and I have their best interests, and that we're going to take care of each other. I'm not saying that these steps or stages are easy. In this video, my hope is that you and I would be able to talk through each and every one of them, that you might be able to identify them, so that when you're in the midst of those emotions, you are going to be able to recognize what it is you're doing to help the situation and what it is you're doing that's not helping the situation. And truly, how it is you are moving forward with this person, or recognizing when you need to move on more quickly. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I invite you to like and share this video with others who may find it helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in these topics of dating, relationships, of friendships, and even career and leadership development. Here on Strong Insight Coaching, we are going to continue to make these videos. Until next time, friends, see you later.